Hi students, I hope you are going through the lectures that we are uploading. Now I am here to explain behaviorism. So let us see, this is one of the concepts prescribed for your study in ELT. So let us see what is behaviorism. Yeah, this lecture I will limit to behaviorism only. So let us see what is behaviorism. Behaviorism is the earliest language learning theory. So, behaviorism is a psychological theory. Okay, it is based upon psychology and it is propounded by J.B. Watson in 1913. It is known as the earliest language learning theory. And of course, after J.B. Watson propounded it in during the late 19th century and first half of the 20th century. It was supported and believed by some other behaviorists also, like Skinner, Pavlov, and Thorndike. Okay. Um, Actually, what is behaviorism focuses on, on what behaviorism is focusing. It focuses on observable behaviors which are changed as the symptoms of learning. So, behaviorism actually focuses on some observable behaviors, the behaviors that are very much evident to us, which are changed as the symptoms of learning. Their behaviors will be changed as the symptoms of learning. If you observe a child learning the language, you can understand that the child actually tries to learn the language imitating the elders. Okay, according to Brown, one of the behavioral theorist, the behavioristic approach focuses on the immediately perceptible aspects of linguistic behavior. So immediately recognizable or evident aspects of linguistic behavior and the publicly observable responses. So he also felt that they are the publicly observable responses. When the child is learning the language, you could have observed, and that is very evident when we observe that the child will learn the language by repeating the same sounds, and that repetition comes from the imitation. Child always tries to imitate the elders, and while the elders are talking, um, he will just try to imitate those words. And when the elders notice that the child is trying to catch the words, they try to give a drill to the child so that he or she will pronounce the words, and also able to make the phrases or sentences, etc. So the behavior is very much evident. The behavior of the child is very much evident while picking up the language one, that is L1, which is the native language. So in the similar manner, of course, the ELT theorists have focused that L2 can be taught in the similar manner. So the behaviorism is one of the language learning theories, and it is focused on observing the evident behaviors of the learners. Then it believed that learning only occurs when there are changes in behavior and observable as an evidence of changing. So behaviorism observed, observed that language learning occurs when there are changes in behavior. So the behavioral changes will be there, which are very much observable. Feeling and mental processes are not accepted. in Skinner's human behaviors theory. As I told you, Skinner is also a behavioralist thinker or a theorist. So he felt that observable behavior is the only one we need to observe, and whatever is the thinking process or mental process, which is called as cognitive, cognitive um, aspects, are not noticed in this behaviorist language learning theory. And Skinner accepted that human behavior, however, he felt that it is it is based on the noticing of observable behaviors only. Though he accepted the existence of mind, he never accepted that the mental process is important. Okay, and thus behaviorists consider learning a language as a set of mechanical habits. So we learn language as a mechanical habit through repetition, through drilling, etc. And these habits are formed through a process of imitation and repetition. This is what I have already explained to you. When we observe the child learning a language, these are the two processes that you can notice. The child try to imitate, and when he or she is trying to imitate, the elders will make them to repeat, and that is how they will pick up the behaviors of the language, the language behaviors. Humans learn a language through repeating the same form and text until it becomes a habit. So it should become a habit where you will not commit any mistake. So when you are speaking a language, after you have a good repetition in that, and after you have a good imitation of the elder speaking language, you will not commit a mistake. And in other words, it becomes your behavior, it becomes your linguistic behavior. So the behaviorism actually a psychological theory applied to the learning of language, and it believed that language is also a behavior, it is our linguistic behavior. So a behavior is nothing but you say behavior, yeah, behave yourself, or what is your behavior, etc. All our behaviors, of course, we will get while living in a kind of environment. The people who are living around us, their behavior will automatically influence our behavior. So like that, we have a linguistic behavior also, or a linguistic environment in which we try to imitate and repeat. This is what behaviorism says. Children imitate the sounds and patterns which they hear around. This is what Light Brown has stated. So, children imitate the sounds and patterns which they hear around. So, in the similar manner, when we are trying to learn the L2, that is the target language, of course, we will also be exposed to certain kind of situation where we will try to imitate the sounds and patterns of the language too. This is where your audio visual aids come into, or audio especially. A language environment is created. Creating a linguistic environment is more important, where the L2 learning can take place very easily or very effectively. So that actually gives the chance to the L2 learners, as they have learned their L1. So in the similar manner, they're trying to make the behavior, as language is nothing but a behavior which is acquired in the environment. They have applied these behaviorist principles. Okay. So it was proposed that learners would repeat words they heard and try to use it in their conversation. So when learners are exposed to certain what you call audio, audio, audios where certain situations are played again and again, or this can be adopted by the learners, and then they can use them in their real life situations. So behaviorists therefore think that learning a language, especially second language, should be through extensive drill and practice. This is what I have already emphasized. So L2, as the child is learning L1 through imitation and drill only. In the similar manner, behaviorists felt that L2 can be learned if such an atmosphere is created where you have a scope for extensive drill and practice. And besides this concept of drill and practice, these behaviorists also justified that learning a new language is learning a new set of habit. So learning a language is habit. So let us not consider that habits are out of the linguistic area. So they felt that learning a language is also a habit. How you develop the habits of eating or dressing and then conversing with your neighbors, etc. Language is also a habit. So Ellis, one of the behaviorist thinkers, says that learning could be affected by manipulating the environment to provide the required experience. To have your effective communication skills, people say that you have to create an environment where the target language is being spoken or used or being written, etc. So if you create the environment, for creating the environment only, always the communication skills experts say that try to keep watching news channels or cartoon channels or keep watching movies in English, etc., so that you will try to catch some phrases which are helpful to you in your real time experiments with the language. So you have to get yourself exposed to a linguistic environment. This is what behaviorists believe that provides a required experience to the L2 learners. And this led to the theory that formation of habit is related to the environment. So of course we know how environment is very important, and in our social environment or economical environment or political environment, as we have these many environments, we have linguistic environment also. Exposing, by exposing through the to that, we will just try to form a habit of linguistic habit where we can acquire L2, that is the target language, or L2 is our second language. And this actually, in this environment only, learning process actually takes place. So formation of habits and the environment are recognized as stimulus response. By Pavlov and Skinner, two are the behaviorist thinkers. They have given this name as a stimulus and response, SR, to the formation of habits and the environment. Okay, in 1950s, School of Psychology successfully prevailed this SR in the form of behaviorism to ensure the connection between both elements. Your environment and your habit are very much related. And psychologists, behaviorist psychologists, okay, have successfully established this connection between these two areas, that is the environment and the habit. Okay, behaviorists might consider effective language behavior to be the production of correct responses to stimuli. So whatever is encouraging you to speak in a given environment is what the effective language behavior. And behaviorist psychologists believed that your language behavior will be shaped by this SR, and it is the production of correct responses to stimuli. So your response to your environment is what shapes your effective language behavior. So according to the theory, behavior happens in causal associative chains. So they are not very strict, formal or fixed, but they are very casual, and they are relating to one another. This like a chain. All learning is thus characterized as associative learning. So one after the other, one after the other, we will develop a link, and with this association we will try to learn the language or habit formation brought about by the repeated association of a stimulus with a response. See, while you are living in an environment, say family environment, you are supposed to have a certain kind of behavior. Okay, and in the language also, in the similar manner, when you are having that linguistic environment, you will start learning in a casual manner with associative chains, associative learning, by which becomes your habit. Okay, it becomes a habit that you learn the language through the behavioral patterns which are very evident in the linguistic environment. Its best known proponent, B.F. Skinner, as I have already referred to this person, who is a behaviorist thinker. He actually took the example of rats to conclude that conditioning has a three-state procedure, that is stimulus, response, and reinforcement. Actually, Skinner has experimented on rats and how they exhibit their behavioristic tendencies. He experimented with rats by keeping a hook in the cage, and when the rat touches the hook, the food material that is kept will fall down, and then it starts eating. Okay, and if you keep that system continuously, a day or 2 days or 3 days, it will keep on doing that. But if you remove the food, and if you keep arrange something that when the rat touches the hook, it sends electric shock to that, it will not do that. So it is like, it's response to the environment. uh, so if the shock is there, of course it stops. Okay, like that, he experimented on rats to bring out that it is a habit. So the rat coming and touching the hook has become a habit, because it is used to eat the food that comes out when the hook is touched. So just like that, we also, while living in an environment, will try to take out, or will try to imitate all the behaviors of the environment. Especially here we are concerned with the linguistic environments. So Skinner, with his experiment on rats, presumed that human learning and animal learning are parallel. So he felt that human learning and animal learning are similar, and L2 learning is also similar to other kinds of learning. So he felt that L2 learning is similar to that of L1 learning, and it can be explained by the same laws as well as same principles. So every process of learning has to be followed by reinforcement, strengthening. When you learn something, actually you will get strengthened. You will be very, what you say, getting a command over that. All learning is the establishment of habits as the results of reinforcement and reward. Okay, so there are actually two different types of reinforcement in the behaviorism. One is the negative reinforcement, and the other is the positive reinforcement. In the, actually, the positive reinforcement is like giving what to call rewards. Okay, rewards to the student when he answers the question in a right manner. And this actually encourages the student to be more participatory in the class and to learn new things and get motivated and more confident. And of course, if it is the negative reinforcement, as we have seen the rat which will not touch the hook when it gets the shock, when the negative reinforcement is applied, if the teacher scolds the student, naturally he will set back and he will not try to interact in the class, or he will not try to answer or be participatory. So behaviorists felt that this kind of observing the behaviors of observable behaviors of the student and encouraging them will create a kind of linguistic environment, a friendly environment where the students will be more participatory and will try to learn more. Further, behaviorist learning theory also claimed that old habits interfere with the acquisition of new ones. Actually, the behaviors of learning L1 are already there with the student, and these habits of L1 may come into the L2, and sometimes it may prove a hindrance in learning the L2. So this actually that is why they felt that it should be avoided. And this L1 interference, whenever it happens, should be corrected on the spot if they occur. So L1, L2. So these two behaviors are there. The child who is trying to acquire another language, which is L2, would be actually be interfered or created some kind of what you say interventions of the L1. So behaviorists felt that these interventions of L1 should be removed, so to make the acquisition of L2 in an effective manner. So one of the examples of extensive drilling in learning is audiolingual method. As I have already told you, that behaviorism emphasizes upon imitation and of course repeating. This is what is the drilling. And for drilling, we have the best example of audiolingual method, which is a very popular method in America. And it functions as a structural approach designed to develop oral communication fluency in L2. So this is actually for developing the oral communication fluency in L2. And audiolingual method focuses on accuracy. So it also focuses on the accuracy of pronunciation, intonation, and mistakes should be avoided and corrected immediately if it happened. Much drilling is done to ensure this. So much again and again, they are the learners are made to listen to the audio records, and then they are made to repeat these sounds or phrases or sentences whichever they listen in the audiolingual method. And then Ellis, one of the behaviorist thinkers, wrote that for learning to be effective, habits had to become automatic. So our habits, which we of course acquire through the linguistic environment that is created for the L2, these habits should become automatic. This is what I used to tell you. Sometimes some usage of some grammatical structures or some words, or like you have phrasal verbs, which are like a combination of prepositions and a verb, which is called a phrasal verb. The usage of these phrasal verbs or idioms or some other grammatical rules, etc., or syntactic structures, etc., will become our habits, which will become automatic. And then we will not commit a mistake when using these, because they have become effective habits in us. We have what you say we get used to them in a very effective manner, that it will not we will not commit any mistake. Habits are like that. If you are habituated to do something, usually you can do it, even if if you wake up in the midnight, or even if you are not so conscious also, you will be doing that thing which is your habit in a correct manner. Like that, in behavioristic approach of language learning, a language becomes our habit, which becomes automatic. In short, the patterns of language learning have to be overlearned. So we learn repeating, imitating, okay, that it is overlearned, and the content should be based on daily dialogues as well as expressions. And moreover, all these the content of the behaviorist class is based on the daily dialogues and expressions. And if followed by the positive reinforcement, it will help students to develop correct habits. So the positive reinforcement, we have seen how the evident behaviors are appreciated. If a student answers the question rightly, the teacher appreciates, so that the student will get encouraged, motivated, so to participate in the class very much. So it will help students to develop correct habits. So what is the advantage of behaviorist theory of language learning? It will help students to develop correct habits, which will become automatically after repeating it many times, after imitating it for many times. It becomes your habit. Language becomes your habit, where you will never commit any mistake. By then, learning the structures of the language is more emphasized compared to the vocabulary. So here in this way of language learning, language, structures, learning the structures, like if you have to learn the tenses, as I told you, present tense is just subject plus v1 plus object, just like that pattern. The structure, language structure or patterns are repeatedly made audible to the learners, and it gives the ease of learning the structures. And in this behaviorist language learning theory, learning the structures is emphasized rather than vocabulary, compared to the vocabulary. Okay, of course, while repeating the sentences, or while repeating whatever we listen, or repeatedly listening to the audio records, we will try to get vocabulary also. At the same time, it focuses on the oral fluency, and also the language structures, patterns, where you will not commit any mistake, because through this behavioristic language learning theory, you will be learning the language automatically, or it becomes your habit, so that you will get absorbed into that, and you will learn it in a very perfect manner, where you will not commit any mistake. This is what is the behavioristic language learning theory, which is based upon the psychology. This psychology, behavioralist psychology, how we behave in a given environment. So this environment is what shapes our behaviors. That is what is behaviorist psychology believes. And that is why basing upon this psychological principle only, this behaviorist language learning theory is developed. And of course, it proved very effective in most of the situations in imparting education in L2, or the target language, or the foreign language. Okay, this is what I have to share regarding behaviorism. I hope you will go through this, and you will be listening, and as well as going through the slides, you will be able to understand what is behaviorism further. And some more articles are available online also. Try to follow some of the articles which are very clear. Don't get confused, and try to prepare a notes of behaviorism, as I have told you earlier. Okay, have a nice time.